Hi, this is Mr. Barr, and this is the pretest for the number system. So let's get to this. Question number 1. Write the following decimals as fractions using only whole numbers for the numerator and denominator. You may not use a calculator. Let's zoom in on this one right there. So I know that 0.5 repeating is the same thing as 5 over 9. I know that 0.8 repeating is the same thing as 8 over 9. And I know that 0.9 repeating is the same thing as 9 over 9, which is also 1, because 9 over 9 is 1. We're going to approximate the square root of 240 without using a calculator. Well, I'm going to find the numbers that are around it. I know that the square root of, the square root of 256 is 16, and the square root of 225 is 15. So I know this answer needs to be between 15 and 16. And it's actually right about in the middle between those two numbers. So between 225 and 256 lies 240. So I would put it at, let's see, that's at 240. This is 15 under 240, and this is 16 above 240. So it's right in between. So I have it as 15.5. I would also accept probably a 15.4 and a 15.6 on that one. Select all the expressions that are more than 6 and less than 10. Well, I backed it out to 6 squared is 36 and 10 squared is 100. So I need anything that's between 36 and 100 would have a square root between 6 and 10. So the square root of 50, that's a little less than a 7. This guy, oh, he's too small. He's under a 5. This guy's bigger than a 10. And this guy, he's a little bit more than an 8. So this one, right, this is about a 7.1, and this is about an 8 point something, 8.1. So those are the two that would be in between. Yeah, a little bit more than a 7, a little bit more than an 8. So we're going to find the square root of whatever this is. So I did 50 minus 16. That took me to a 36. Plus a 2 took me to a 38. So now I'm going to do the square root of 38. So I find his neighbors. So here's 38. His lower neighbor is 36, and his upper neighbor is 49. Square root of 36 is 6. Square root of 49 is 7. So this is closer to the 6. So I put it at about a 6.1. It's multiple choice, so 6 to 6.2. Approximate the values here. Well, I approximated the square root of 50 at about a 7.1. And the square root of 23, well, it's a little bit less than a 5, so I put that at a 4.8. Then I can add the two numbers together, and that gives me an 11.9. And I would accept, let's see, 11.9, probably 11.8, 11.7, 11.8, 11.9, 12, anything in that range. Determine if each comparison is true or false. Well, the square root of 50, that's about a 7.1. Is 7.1 greater than 6.9? That's true. The square root of 25, well, that's a little bit less than a 5, right? And a 5, let me zoom in a little bit more on that one. Let me see what's going on. Right. So this is actually like a 4.9 divided by a 5, which is a 1. This is about a 1. And this is a little bit bigger than 1. 9 divided by 7 is bigger than 1. Is 1 greater than something that's bigger than 1? Is 1 greater than like a 1.1? No, this is false. Square root of 65, well, that's about an 8.1, and 8.1 is not less than 8, so that's also false. Rational versus irrational. A repeating decimal is rational. A fraction is rational. Uh-oh, I've got a square root that I don't know, which means it's irrational. Pi is always irrational. 12, rational, rational. We've got to put these guys in order from big to small. And so I approximated everything here. The square root of 7 is about 2.5. So 3 plus 2.5 is 5.5. Square root of 30, well, that's about 5.5. Divided by 2 is 2.25. So I'm just 0 is 0. 7 is 7. And this is about, let's see, I don't know, 2 times pi is about 6, minus 5 is 1. So about 1. So let's put this in the biggest one. Order these numbers from least to greatest. Put the greatest number on top. So the greatest number would be this guy. So this is number 1. Then this one, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is the biggest, and this one's the lowest. Approximate the square root, or excuse me, the cube root of 118. Well, I know that the cube root of 125 is 5. So this is going to be a little bit less than 5. So I put it at about a 4.8. And I would accept 4.8. What would I accept on this one? I would accept 4.8, 4.9, and 5. I would actually accept a 5 on that one. All right, hey, that's the video. Thank you for watching.